Alright, so this is my theory and action plan. My company is a wildlife organization. It's called Clean Earth Incorporated. It's a nonprofit wildlife organization, and we focus on relocating a lot of the Asian carp and invasive fish species in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. Specifically, the Fox River is what we're working on right now, but eventually we want to expand to all the lakes and rivers in the area that lead into Lake Michigan. Our main mission is to just safely relocate those fish and animals that are invasive and are taking up a lot of the space, and help that natural habitat start over again in those areas. We take a lot of inspiration from other wildlife companies, specifically WWF, and a lot of other nonprofit wildlife association companies as well. Our main stakeholders will be our volunteers and our employees, people who donate money to us and donate funds to us that want to help our cause. Another big stakeholder that we have is the Illinois government and wildlife organizations, specifically the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency that helps with those animals and wanting to relocate and create safer spaces for the actual Illinois animals that are there. Yeah, we also have a lot of a couple other stakeholders that are big stakeholders are Chicagoland communities, all the communities that we're working in, that we're trying to create more natural wildlife there. Those are all big stakeholders in our company. The first slide here that I have is our communications, forms of communications that I've created. The first one is a social media campaign. So I have a Twitter campaign, I have Instagram, and I have Facebook, and I think it's important to just make sure we roll out all of those things at the same time and are consistently keeping up to date with social media. That will be our main form of communication with our stakeholders. And I think it's just a good way to get the cause out, because it's not a real well-known cause, and the more places it is, the more likely people are to see it and to be interested in what's going on with that, with the wildlife there. I think also using social media is a great way to draw in new stakeholders and new people that are interested in the topic, especially people who are living in the Chicagoland area and maybe are wondering why there are so many fish, or if you've seen some of the photos of the fish just jumping out of the water all at once, or even been there. I think people are going to be interested in what's going on there, and maybe on social media is a good way to get across our point in what's actually happening. The second slide that I have here for our communication is my press release that I've created. This would be a way to communicate with stakeholders and people who are already established in the company, specifically maybe communities and other companies that we're working with, or other nonprofits that we're working with. I think this would mainly be sent out through email, but I think we could also email or mail it to them in paper, or depending on who it is, as well as maybe posting it online on our website. I think we still want to stick with that digital form of communication, just because that's the best way for our company to get our point across, and we're trying to target younger people a lot more than the older people, but we also want to just get as much information on the internet about it as possible. So the third form of communication that I created was an employee bio, and I figured this would be on my website, or on the website for the company, and it would just give already established stakeholders and other companies a good idea of what our company is about and what we care about as a whole unit, and if our morals and ethics line up with our employees, which is important in any good company. So, moving on to communication theory, the theories that I've linked in my paper with my theory and action plan. The first one is media richness theory, and I figured social media is a good way to condense our messages and make them more digestible and smaller and easier to understand for many of our people who are interested in the company or interested in the cause, just because it's a kind of interesting cause. There's not a lot going on with it, in the sense that it's not all over the internet, it's not super well known, it's very small, so I think the more often we post smaller things about it, the more likely we are to get people's attention. And moving on from that, the agenda setting theory, like I said, spreading out a lot spreading out our message on all different sorts of platforms and having repeated coverage of it is a great way to drill into people's brains and get people's attention. Also, priming, using what other people have already established in wildlife organizations. So like that's how, or the reason why we take a lot of inspiration from other wildlife organizations such as WWF, and I also think like just making our posts and making videos on YouTube and stuff that kind of correlate with what a lot of younger kids grew up on, like Animal Planet, things that associate with our youth or with other already established companies, just so they seem similar and draw in attention. I also talk about the two-step flow theory and how our posted employee bio helps show the idea of our opinions leaders and can help influence others as well. So like I said, if people know who the opinion leaders are and what they're about and what they're interested in, then that can help influence some of the other people that are also looking into the company. We also talk about relationship management theory, and we link our actions and our customers. Oh wait. Okay, so yeah, like we want to link our actions to our customers when we're talking about press releases. We want it to be forward, and we want to talk to them as real people. Moving on, and just like that, interactive communications theory, we want to treat our customers like they're real life people. We don't want it to be through the screen. We want it to feel like a personal connection with that company. We want to treat them like real people, and not like just people that we take money from. We want them to be we want it to be a personal relationship between customer, stakeholder, and employee and company. So finally, the crisis management. The crisis that I created in my paper was about the accidental killing of Asian carp rather than actual relocation. So maybe there was an issue where chemicals leaked, or we screwed up. We killed a bunch of the Asian carp that we were trying to relocate, and that caused a lot of other issues within the biodome of the rivers and lakes. I think the three main tactics that we would keep in mind would be apology, because we are a wildlife company and we know we screwed up, we messed with the wildlife and we didn't help. So I think it's always important to take responsibility for your actions, so we would apologize. I also think we might go about it in an excuse sort of way. We may try and place blame on something else, or possibly the employees that caused it rather than the company itself, and just let them know that we are taking care of those employees or those people that caused the problem. And then we also remind of our past good. We are a wildlife organization, and we have done good in the past with relocating the fish. This was a one-time issue, a one-time problem, and we don't plan on it happening again. We've done it successfully in the past, and that would be the main ways that we would handle a crisis. Overall, though, that's my whole theory and action plan. You can refer to the paper and all the other links that I'm going to be